Hello everyone! I'm RiggyRob and welcome back to Control! So, we finished off the Foundation DLC last time, but it turned out I hadn't actually downloaded the next expansion, which was AWE. But I have since downloaded it, and we now have a new mission, a dark place, to investigate the sector elevator. So it's not going straight to the hotline, which I thought was a bit interesting.
Darkness engulfed the elevator. There was something there, reaching for her, trying to make her act. It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man, a hunger in the dark.
And as you can probably tell,
Investigation sector, huh?
this is all about Alan Wake.
We should check this out.
Hence him talking to us in the hotline. So he's actually got a direct line into the hotline. Does that mean that Alan is dead? Because that seems to be the case with Marshall in the Foundation. Yeah, that's a bit interesting.
Darkness engulfed the elevator. There was something there. A presence. Jesse Faden could hear it. A call. It was faint, reaching for her from a dark place. Faden was sensitive to visitations. She had them all the time. From her guiding star.
Polaris.
His director.
And Trench.
She was the perfect receiver. As if she'd been made for this. Faden paused to feel it. The force at play here. It was changing things around her, subtle, trying to make her act. Faden didn't like that. Her guide felt it too. Polaris didn't flare up in defense as with the hiss. So it wasn't all bad. Not a hostile transmission. It was powerful, but it was coming from far away. And made weak because of the distance. It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man. A man desperate to escape. She sensed something else, too. A hunger in the dark. Not unlike the hostile resonance. Waiting. She knew that desperate acts can have grim consequences. It was this, more than the man's despair, that made her follow the call. The elevator lights winked back on. The darkness receded like a memory. There was a new button on the elevator control panel. Investigation sector. Faden pressed the button. The elevator doors slid shut with practiced bravado.
So, we never actually investigated an investigation sector before, did we? And that kind of leads to some interesting conversations regarding... Yeah, it's right at the bottom now. So, is Jessie able to do this out of all of her free will? Or is it because Alan is typing stuff in the typewriter, which we already know to be an altered item, that is causing these events to happen? It's like Alan is writing the story that Jessie is following, but she doesn't have the opportunity to affect it other than what Alan is doing. But then he's in the hotline, so him typing in the typewriter shouldn't make a difference, right? So, I remember from last time we did actually get something regarding a typewriter. I forget if it was in case files. It probably was, actually, now that I think about it. So let's go ahead and see if we can't find that. Altered items, typewriter, I'm going to assume. Typewritten page in the supplement. So, a standard letter-sized typewritten page with minor water damage. The page is full of text, but apart from the top 7 lines, all the rest has been violently scratched out. Only a few individual words and phrases can be made out. The page emits a dim glow in the dark. When the text is read, there is a feeling of dislocation, as if witnessing the page being written as you read it, and as if reality around you is being blank to match the words on the page. This feeling is made stronger if the text is blank. Forensic and linguistic analysis confirm that the text has been written by Alan Wake with the same typewriter as the earlier materials discovered in Bright Falls in 2010. See the Bright Falls AWE case file for more information. So those are the procedures, which is nothing unique, but it feels as if the page is being written as you read it, is a cool concept I like. And here's a supplement. The page was discovered in an instance of the Ocean View Motel and Casino that was linked to the investigation sector, so that must have been the first mention of it, but we never actually investigated it in the main game. The page had been pushed into the motel's corridor from under the door with a symbol of a spiral, blank. Appendix. Text transcribed from the item. For 10 years, I've tried to write my escape, only sinking deeper. I used to know where fiction ends and reality begins. Here they are all the same. It's a hideous trap, my every thought made real. Fear, desire, how can I ever know for sure I've escaped and not just lost in my own fantasy of it? That thought alone can drive you mad. The identifiable words in the scratched out portion: falls, bright falls, haunting, wake, Alan Wake, light, switch, ocean, too late, and the final sentence, you've been warned. So it looks like we might actually have to try and rescue Alan from wherever he is trapped here, wherever he's been, you know, sinking deeper. And we can go ahead and... Actually, is there anything else? No. So we can go ahead and have a look at the Bright Falls AWE event as well. So here we go. So, an unconfirmed threshold manifestation at Cauldron Lake resulted in a fictional story written by the author Alan Wake, creating an AWE in which reality was altered to match that of the story, though only locally and for a limited time. Mr. Kirkland, head of investigations, was alerted on the 13th of September 2010 by ex-Bureau agent Frank Breaker that an AWE event was taking place in Bright Falls. I referred to events in 1970, 76, and 78. Breaker had received a call from Barry Wheeler, Alan Wake's literary agent, on behalf of Breaker's daughter Sarah, who is the current sheriff of Bright Falls. A Bureau field team arrived at the site 2 days later, only to confirm that the event was over. Interviews were conducted, referred to Thomas Zane, Odin Anderson, and Torn Anderson. Alan Wake was believed to blank instigator. Eyewitness reports highlight an old light switch, possibly an object of power, that blank missing. Though the light switch would match with the Ocean View Motel, most likely. Wake was not found at the scene. Reports claim he dived into the lake, but no body was recovered in the search. And the supplement. Alice Wake, Mr. Wake's wife, was found during the Bureau investigation. She was interviewed and evaluated. She showed signs of severe mental trauma in the form of blank memory loss. She was later directed to treatment. It was concluded that she had been trapped in the threshold during its manifestation. Notable individuals still missing after the Bright Falls event are FBI Special Agent Robert Nightingale and Dr. Emil Hartman, referred to the Creator's Dilemma and the file RE the Cauldron Lake Lodge. Bureau researchers believe this event was a result of a forceful perception of subjective reality stemming from Mr. Wake, overlapping on our own. Wake has been flagged as a potential para-utilitarian, see the Prime Candidate Program. In 2011, a book by Clay Stewart titled The Alan Wake Files was published by Roundabout Press, and agents interviewed Clay Stewart and suspected minor para-utilitarian sensitivity. He was placed under indefinite surveillance. A monitoring station was established at Cauldron Lake to alert the Bureau of any future activity. So the idea is that I never actually played Alone in the Dark, but Bright Falls is probably referring to the whole game. And this is saying that this was a fictional story, but because Alan was using the typewriter, which is an altered item, it created it and made it real. And that's the result of this AWE event. And we do actually have a whole sector for AWE stuff in the Bureau. Let's go ahead and go down to the investigation sector and see what else we can do. Because if I remember right, one of the places we went to is where the turntable is. And one of them was just a boss fight against Massey, I think it was. And, you know, we had that boss fight and there's a giant meteor in the room. I forget what was on the other side, though. Don't think it had much to do with Alan Wake. I thought it was more to do with the dump that Jesse and Dylan were at when they found their slide projector. But here we go. Dark place. Take the sector elevator to the investigation center. Yes. Oh? Oh, yeah. Doors are slowly... There we go. That was a very dark place. Hey. Hello, hello.
Guess not.
Nobody home. Alright. Couple of things over here. Darling investigation. A Casey inquiry. Okay.
Seems a lot more crowded than the rest of the bureau.
It does, actually. Not a lot of room. Also, why are the power cores glowing green? Okay. There are so many different things to pick up. So many different case files. So the Bureau agents were busy, or Alan was busy. And there's a control point on the other side of this thing here.
It's not working.
Yeah. Makes me
Probably
wonder
loose
why...
power core somewhere.
Oh, this power core's fine. That's the problem. If there's another power core that's loose somewhere, then we need to go and find it. But Before we do that, let's go ahead and read all the stuff we picked up, because there were a few things. Okay, so research and records, unread. The Darling Investigation. Official findings report RE Dr. Casper Darling. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, Internal Investigation D0845 was launched into the ethical practices of Dr. Casper Darling, Head of Research. Despite the accounts of anonymous blank regarding inhumane treatment of a blank, currently housed in the Bureau, our official findings regarding this were inconclusive. Numerous obstacles arose during this investigation. The majority of blank sector personnel seem to be wholly unaware of such blank contained there. So, investigation sector were aware of any altered items contained there? One blank confirmed the blank's code name to be blank. That's very descriptive, thank you. But all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible, being classified under the highest clearance level. Investigators were similarly blocked from entering the blank research wing to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warrant humane treatment. While this investigation cannot address any charges against Dr. Darling, we do recommend investigation into blank research. Refer to 982-01364. By Tim Spalder, by order of William Kirkland. We never really did find out what happened to Ash, did we? And the tractor supplement. So, Burr Tractor AI-82. Miscommunication led to a local coroner examining the body of William Burr. So, William Burr was a male Caucasian, 33-year-old man found dead on his property per police report. Remains obtained for coroner's office also include blood, urine, bile, stomach contents, and bone fragments. Autopsy findings: blunt force injuries to the head, lacerations to the left ear and cheek, blunt force injuries to the extremities, dislocated right knee, complete avulsion of the right upper extremity with associated fracture of the proximal right humerus, extensive trauma to the abdominal region, complete avulsion of multiple organs including stomach, heart, liver, pancreas, kidneys, and portions of the large and small intestine, all missing from the scene. It is my opinion that Mr. Burr's death is not the result of a mechanical accident as claimed by authorities. The removal of organs is consistent with animal attack. Somebody ate William. So, I say somebody, something, probably more accurate. And the Casey inquiry. Mr. Dennis, a request came through recently from an FBI agent asking for all of our files on Bright Falls, specifically on the disappearance of the author Alan Wake. Per the Interagency Information Exchange Agreement, I had some paper pushers gather up a folder of all the pre-approved files. Don't worry, all the inappropriate material is either missing or redacted. But I'm writing to let you know that we received this request from a special agent named Alex Casey. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Alex Casey is the name of the fictional detective in those hard-boiled crime books Alan Wake wrote. Pretty interesting that an FBI agent sharing a name with the most famous character Wake wrote is looking into a case dealing with a writer's fiction coming true. I think this is worth looking into, but what's your opinion? Just give the word and I'll start surveillance on this guy. Special Investigator Gleason. To R. Dennis from D. Gleason. That's kind of like, ooh, Alan is able to create people, and then those people are looking for Alan to help him out. You can make your own friends. Alright, missing agents. Mr. Kirkland, here are the latest agents confirmed missing, presumed dead from the containment breach yesterday. Agent Jonathan Connor. John Connor from Terminator. Researcher Ezra Cruz. Agent Caroline Dempsey. Agent Lindsay Malcolm. Agent Charles Murray. And Agent Derek Shaw. Letters of condolence will be delivered to you to sign prior to sending them to their families. You'll be updated as soon as additional confirmations are made. Also, per your request, the network engineer checked how many cases were backed up digitally. Fortunately, a large number of active investigations were not archived yet, and the only hard copies of the reports exist behind the firebreak. They're lost, I'm afraid. And this was in 2017. I'm sure those other names are also kind of references to other things, but I'm not sure what they are. So, yeah, just John Connor. And Resignation, 2019. To whom it may concern, it is with great anger and regret that I tendered my resignation as head of investigations for the Federal Bureau of Control. I do this in protest of the rampant disregard for my department's blank. My staff cannot continue to work in these conditions. Previous requests and warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so I must now rely on my actions to speak louder than my words ever could. I blame the situation on our blank, who has routinely ignored my request for assistance in reclaiming the parts of the investigation sector lost to the blank loose inside. I will never forget the screams of brave agents begging us for us to open that firebreak. I will carry that shame for the rest of my days. The blank has failed his agents. I shall never forgive him for that. Sincerely, William Kirkland. So, the director has failed his agents. What's inside the investigations sector that they've got lost to? So basically, Kirkland was being ignored by someone. I'm going to assume either head of research or the director directly. And yeah, people died. Or people went missing, presumed dead, probably closer. Alright, go and pick up some more research and record. Oh yeah. Official warning from Trench. The director investigation. Underhill background. We didn't hear a lot about Underhill during the main game, I don't think. I'm getting trapped on the other side of a cubicle. Treasure. What's this treasure? Shaded facet. Okay, fair enough. Ooh, and this actually leads out. Okay. So, just double check. There's nothing else in this room, is there? There's an astronaut helmet here in a very conspicuous place. And it's invincible, too. So, certificate of achievement. Oh. See, in The Last of Us, having a painting or a picture frame or something shake violently would take you out of it. In Control, though, the context is very different. So I feel like this could actually be part of the game. But yeah, I can't actually read whose name is on that. It doesn't actually say a name, does it? It has a signature on the left as director. Let's see. In recognition of the successful completion of the requisites and of nomination of Federal Bureau Control on the 12th of March by doctrine of their authority, hereby confers a certificate of recognition with all the honors, rights, and privileges therein pertaining. And again, probably signed again by Trench, but there's no name on the other side. Okay, yeah, you can stop moving now. Okay. So, right, let's go ahead and read some other stuff about Trench. Director Investigation. So, per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, blank was launched into the blank of Director Zachariah Trench. A recent change in blank witnessed in Director Trench, including aggressive blank when blank with other staff, has been observed. However, this investigation is aimed at interpreting this issue rather than proving it. Notable blank between Director Trench and Dr. Darling has been witnessed by numerous Bureau staff. Although both declined to meet for an interview on the matter, witness accounts suggest their arguments center around the Dimensional Research Wing and the blank kept inside. So that would be Dimensional Research and the Astral Spike kept inside most likely, because there's nothing else trapped down there, I don't think. However, no evidence exists to confirm Director Trench's blank as anything more than interpersonal disagreements. This investigation has concluded that Director Trench's behavior is not indicative of any blank and that his fitness to lead is not in question. Refer to file blank for full report. But we don't know who did this. We don't know who it was compiled by. Fair enough. And we have an investigation or background on Dr. Raya Underhill. Dr. Raya Underhill is a professor at the University of Woodrow in the United Kingdom, where she teaches biology with a focus on botany. Dr. Underhill once worked with the Bureau as a parabotanist stationed in the research sector of the oldest house. She served with no incidents or demerits and is praised by those who formerly worked with her, including Dr. Darling. Dr. Underhill has no known connections to paracriminal organizations or any record of breaching her NDA since leaving the Bureau. Her civilian behavior has been ideal, with the exception of an ongoing personal relationship with Dr. Darling that appears to have begun during their time as co-workers in the research sector and revisited intermittently ever since. Depending on the duration of her work in the oldest house, it may be required to have both parties sign a relationship clearance form. This investigation has now found no compelling reason to deny Dr. Darling's request to offer Dr. Underhill an interim position with the aim of finding a solution to the mold threshold issue. So they were actually, together. Interesting. She does not seem particularly upset that we haven't found Darling. Or surprised, I should say. And here is an official warning from Trench. Kirkland, I am growing tired of your blatant attempts to lay your incompetence at my doorstep. I know you want this to be true, but you are head of investigations. This failure is your responsibility. What did you think would happen, holding a dangerous specimen in investigations? The containment sector exists for a reason. They are better trained and better equipped for this type of work. In fact, they've admirably taken on certain AWE monitoring responsibilities that your staff are no longer capable of. This happens more and more now. And don't think your petty internal investigations have gone past my notice. You are a worm. Everything I've done has been for the benefit of the Bureau. The Prime Candidate program only failed because of Darling. You are both failures plotting against me. You are traitors, but the truth will emerge out of you. You are choosing to become my enemy, Kirkland. You don't want to be. Zachariah Trench, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. Trench sounds like he was losing it way before he got infected by the hiss. You are a worm. You are failures plotting against me. You are traitors. Like, this is supposed to be one of his colleagues. You know, one of his, I guess, subordinates. That sounds very antagonistic. Much more so than what he had with Darling. Even though I think we said that Darling and Trench had quite lengthy arguments, at least. Okay. So that leads back up to where we just came from. Okay, yes. All very dark around here, so. Okay. More correspondence. So, the Cauldron Lake update. The Chief Investigator, Dennis. It happened again. Third time this year. Something certainly has it out for our blank. Could be raccoons. The locals certainly complain about them enough. But why the hell would raccoons keep going after a monitoring station? Doesn't add up. Anyway, I've got a bureau tech going to the site next week to take a look. Next on the list of recurring problems are the staff at the Lake House Research Station. How am I supposed to effectively keep an eye on Blank Lake, Cauldron Lake, if they won't let me see any data? Hell, I don't even know what they're researching out there. We need to petition them again to share their info with investigations agents. It's only a matter of time before this blank hits again. I want to be prepared. Anyway, if anyone at HQ asks why the Bright Falls report is a little thin this month, tell them it's because we couldn't take any readings. In the meantime, I might invest in some raccoon traps. Sincerely, Agent Estevez. Okay. But wasn't Estevez one of the people missing? Mr. Dennis. So yes, there's an increase in AWE cases, and yes, it would be a good idea to put together a special task force to examine exactly why that is. However, it seems that a tiny little detail has slipped through the cracks. We don't have the damn staff. If you expect us to detect, investigate, and process more AWE cases, you need to give us more people. It's simple math. Between the staff we lost in the Hartman thing, and the ones left for the other departments after Kirkland quit, we're barely managing to keep up the workload. Hell, just filing the paperwork for all the altered items we left behind in the sector has been an ordeal. Another thing, and this is going to sound paradoxical, but we have an overcrowding situation. This lobby isn't meant to accommodate a whole sector's worth of staff. We put forward a motion to move investigations into a more suitable location months ago. It better not still be sitting on your desk. The people are getting restless, and as Kirkland's interim replacement, it's your job to handle it. Best regards, Agent Grayson. Wow, Dennis got shafted into a bad situation, seems like. Alright, and that's all blocked up, so we can smash through here. Alright. I thought there might be something on the desk. Ethics investigation. Okay. This doesn't have anything on the other side. Just double check. We all good? Yeah, there is something there. Knew it. Keystone Inspection. Fair enough. Fair enough. We've got one more thing to pick up before we do the power core. Tractor procedures. Alright. Okay. I think that's about it. So, where's the power core? See. Yeah, that wire is definitely leading to the thing there. But I can't take this power core off, can I? Oh, I can. Huh. Weird. I didn't think I'd be able to do that. Alright, well, fair enough. But let's drop it on the floor before we go through. Okay. So, the ethics investigation. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation P1429 was launched into the legality of the prime candidate program blank by the Federal Bureau of Control. Since all known subjects relevant to the investigation used executive privilege to decline interviews, very little first-hand information was gathered. However, anonymous sources and documentation declassified by Mr. Kirkland both paint an alarmingly clear picture of systematic blank and blank. Blank were brought into the oldest house and placed under blank examination and testing with the aim of appointing one as director upon maturity. This program has produced no successful cases and only resulted in the traumatic blank of paranaturally inclined blank. Not only is this in breach of the Ash Act, but it flies in the face of basic human rights. This investigation team unequivocally blank the prime candidate program and recommends that it be blank immediately. So the investigation condemned the prime candidate program, recommends it be dismantled, shut down immediately. They're bringing kids in, trying to test them to make them into prime candidates. To systematic abuse, I guess, would be what's going on here. And that was by Patricia Lewis, as a result of Kirkland again. Okay, so here's the tractor. The Burr tractor AI-82. The item is not in Bureau custody, none known. A Frank Elk tractor, olive green. Dried blood on the grill when last seen. Item is capable of vocalized responses or growls and unmanned locomotion. Considered highly aggressive and dangerous. The item first came to the Bureau's attention after the death of William Burr, owner of Burr Farm outside Trenton, Texas. Local authorities arrived on scene after an employee found the mutilated body of Mr. Burr beneath his tractor. Police arrived but were immediately driven away by the tractor. Panicked calls to federal authorities were intercepted by the Bureau communication staff. The team was dispatched. Upon arrival, the agents approached the item. It responded by growling like a bear. 3 agents were injured when they tried to detain the item, which escaped. Aerial searches for the item are ongoing. Speaking to Mrs. Burr only revealed that she had a domestic altercation with Mr. Burr earlier the night of the incident. Whether these events are connected is currently unknown. The tractor ate him. The tractor turned into an animal somehow and ate him. My God. And that was in 2019. Seen not acquired. So it's still out there. Oh boy. And the Keystone Inspection. Mr. Kirkland, we stopped at Keystone on our way to the target AWE like you asked. I'm sending my report directly to you to try and keep a lid on this Grumman Morales desertion issue. We didn't find any sign of them here. Given their records, it is possible they switched teams, but like you suspected, but I don't think that's the case. An event definitely occurred here in Keystone, and I think Grumman and Morales got caught up in it. The entire population has vanished into thin air. Reminds me of the ordinary case, but that was just the adults if I'm remembering the file correctly. This is different. I think our guys are casualties, not traitors. If it was an AWE, it seems to be over. We walked through the whole town, and the only strange thing we noticed were markings on various buildings. 2 overlapping circles with a dot in the shared space. Would be unrelated. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. In the meantime, you should send a team out here to cordon this place off and maybe get the comms guy working on a cover story. Sincerely, Agent Keenum. Okay. And yeah, there's been a lot of reading for this first part of the game. But I don't mind that because, again, control, reading, the writing in this is very good, so I don't mind that. The whole Burrow tractor thing is amazing.
Now that gate should open.
Okay, so let's open this door now. And let's have another look at more research and records. Specimen escape assessment. Yeah, I think I'll read that before I press this button. Because I want to find out what the specimen is. So, the Specimen Escape Assessment, Incident A49. The purpose of investigating Internal Investigation X0397 is to examine the containment failure of specimen SI1 that resulted in the deaths of blank agents. Multiple? 2? 20? I don't know. An inspection report of the containment equipment 3 days earlier showed no faults. Investigators suspect human error to be the cause, yet no department has provided any evidence to support this. Technicians were able to recover the researchers' notes on the specimen from the internal network. On the blank of blank, the specimen began displaying a sharp increase in aggressive behavior. Cross-referencing that date with various logs found only 2 events inconsistent with the sector's daily routine. Number 1, the air filters were changed, and number 2, an hour prior to the incident, a civilian named Alice Blank entered the sector regarding an unrelated investigation. Given their connection to the same AWE case, it is likely that Mrs. Blank's presence is relevant to the specimen's escape and to the blank. Investigation is ongoing. So was that Alice Burrows? Don't think I'm going to be able to catch up with where that was. Burrow Tractor? Oh, that's on case files, isn't it? Burrow Tractor. Was it Alice? Tractor procedures. Doesn't say Alice Burrow, does it? No. Okay. Okay. Well, 4 agents, I guess. But you have to wonder what the specimen was, because it's not the tractor.